Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Inside CDE. I'm your host, Carter, and today we're taking it inside of a typical day in the life of different departments across CDE Incorporation servers. From the county deputies to hybrid patrol, each department plays a vital role in keeping the city alive and running. Plus, at the end today's episode, we'll also be talking about a new add-on Roxwood map that's going on to change how we play. So let's go ahead and jump in. So first, we have a special guest. We've got somebody from Knox County Sheriff's Office. Can you please introduce yourself, your role in KCSO, and the company of CDE?
So, my name is Ray Mcfarland. I'm the sheriff of Knox County. I'm also the CHRO of CDE Inc. Um, I've been here. I've been here pretty much since the start. I think we had 200 members when I joined up, and started playing TNSRP and absolutely loved it. And I've stuck around, and I can truly say that I've been 100% devoted. Really enjoy the server. Can't say enough about it, and really am blessed to be in the position that I'm in.
So, what made you join TNSRP? What made you say, "Oh, this server looks really great"? What made you want to join?
So when I was in FiveM, I ran through several servers. I went from there was a new county 5M. I went to a place called New State, and I'm not gonna talk bad about anybody, but when I joined TNSRP, the the feeling of the server was just different. The guys I met and the people I played with all had a uplifting demeanor about them. They I think one of the first people I met was Peter, and can't say enough about that guy. He kind of pulled me aside and really helped me understand like what TNSRP was all about, because you come from toxic servers, and you kind of want to play that way and RP that way. And when I found out that TNSRP isn't like that, that really opened my eyes to what a true community driven server means. Um, Met John, met Peter, Skeen was there. I met all those guys, and I was like, wow, they you can tell they really care about each other and the community. So that's kind of what drove me to TNSRP. Plus, I I work and live in Knox County, so it's it's kind of cool too.
That sounds really cool. That really does. So before like ever being the O1 of Knox County, what was like the typical day that you would be in, like as a deputy in KCSO?
So, you'd log on and you'd run into people you played with the night before, and I met several people that way. Um, it was it was truly different. Like, um, you come from servers where the RP's kind of unhinged a little bit,
Yeah.
and people don't have any real gumption about them. Um,
Right.
you're going from that to you're doing a traffic stop of a simple DUI, and the person actually, is respectful to you during the whole DUI stop. That that's different. Um, you don't see that very often.
Right.
You see people cuss at you and yell at you, and you know, you don't you don't realize what that's doing to you mentally
Right.
until you get to experience an interaction like the first time I had in TNSRP and KCSO. It was I you're just kind of blown away
Right.
as to how nice people are here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and we've done a really good job keeping it that way.
That's great. That's really great. So once you were comfortable of becoming the O1 and stuff like that, you were like, okay, I know what I need to do and stuff like that. What was one of the biggest challenges you had to face as a O1?
Oh God. Coming up through KCSO, I was a deputy, and then I was a senior deputy, and then I made sergeant. Right. Um, when I made sergeant, there was several people still ahead of me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You had lieutenants and captains, and you had people ahead of me. Right.
Right.
When I took over when I put my name in for the election,
Mm-hmm.
I never thought, I truly, truly, truly never thought that I would get the job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, just because there were so many people that deserved that were ahead of me,
Right.
and I took over '01. The biggest issue I had was gaining people's trust,
Mm.
letting them know that their needs are met.
Right.
The first thing when I started '01, first thing I did was hit the ground running with narcotics, um, because it wasn't open yet, and I
Right.
just wanted to show the department that I was gonna get that open.
Right.
I was gonna get that open. I was gonna get it off the ground. We
Mm-hmm.
were gonna take it to a level unseen, right?
Right.
Um, that was the biggest thing, is gaining people's trust inside the community for them to know. And honestly, I won the vote, which was crazy because you know I didn't
That
realize my interactions within the community meant so much to people.
and when you end up, this is just my opinion. Sometimes when you think it's like, hey, I don't know if I'm doing enough, but the community sees your dedication from what you was as a sergeant, and they say, "Ho, Mr. Ray Mcfarland is doing really great. We want him as the O1." And then them same people is also still in command says, "We love Mr. McFarland. We really care for his character."
Hmm. And I mean, you know, I I started as sheriff and I didn't have an '01 or an '02, or sorry, an '02 and an '03. Um, Finding those guys to put in that position was very hard. Um,
Of course,
I
yes.
had I had I had a couple. I'll never forget this. I put two of my best guys in '02 and '03 position. One of them came across some family matters and I completely understand that. Tanner, if you listen to this, buddy, we love you and we want you back. Um, but had some family issues that he's having a kid, work, everything, so he couldn't be my '02. The '03 was having some internal issues with himself, and unfortunately had to be demoted, which left me open again. Then
Dang.
I found Keemon and Trey, and Keemon and Trey have done so much for this department, man. I just can't. I couldn't do it without them. I couldn't.
That
Um,
they They have definitely made a difference with KCSO, and a lot of your
They're,
command has definitely made KCSO better from what it was. I will say that.
but we have a solid command team. I mean, solid command team. You just can't ask anything more of those guys. They come in and they're active and they're present and they're answering stuff, and you just it's unreal how solid my command team is.
And what I from I saw, and yes, I am a command team of your department. I love the command team in KCSO. I even love the department itself. Yes, there's one or two tweaks that could happen that needs, but like we're working stuff out. I mean, you gotta make things like work out. You gotta make sure it's like, hey, there's steps to certain things. We can't
Yeah,
overstep them.
it's like you come in, so you pitch an idea and you come in with A, B, and C plan, right?
Right.
First 5 minutes of plan A is shot to the floor, and then you're like, okay, plan B, and you've got to kind of manipulate plan A to work with plan B, and then plan B might not work, and then you got to go to plan C, and then you got to kind of manipulate it all together. And they do they do one hell of a job of doing that. I can't, it just it's unbelievable, really. Um,
So, with that, how do you think KCSO work alongside with THP, SCSO, KPD during like larger incidents or even pursuits?
you know, I would say based off that question, my answer is going to be, KCSO is a more, I wouldn't say laid back department because it's not the words. I would say
It's
KCSO is not as demanding.
okay.
That that doesn't even word it right.
Uh,
Um, Go ahead.
Honestly, the way I see it, it's chill like KPD, it's strict like THP, but we have the people that actually care for their own county.
Right. Okay. That's that's a pretty good wording of it. You know, I'm really close to the O1 of THP. So, anytime we have a problem, we kind of discuss internally, like, hey, how can we get this fixed? We never, as as the O1 of KCSO, I don't ever want bad blood between any departments.
Oh no.
So, whatever happens, we try to fix it immediately.
Right.
Bigger scenes, I think KCSO kind of comes in there and just goes with the flow.
Right.
If THP's taking command, well, then we just kind of fall in and we're like, hey, where can we help? You know, what can we do? If KPD takes command, it's the same thing. Hey, what can we do? Where can we help? You know, um, and they'll give us directives, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
Exactly.
Uh, I'm perfectly okay with a THP trooper going, hey, help that guy over there. Okay, let's go over there and help that guy.
Exactly.
And that's kind of the way we don't come in and really butt heads with anybody, right? Um, because that's just not the way to work as a team. Um, you've got to take criticism and give criticism where it needs to be, and we do a hell of a job with that, right? Um, I just I think we're just more laid back, and we're just kind of like, okay, where do we need to be to get the job done?
Right.
And KCSO is all about getting the job done, and whether we're leading the pack at getting the job done or we're following behind, and picking up here and there, here and there, here and there where we can. I think that's why the department is so good with interdepartment relations, is because we just kind of come in and help get the job done
Right.
rather than wanting to be that big dog on scene.
Right. Right. Kind of going out of Knox County Sheriff's Office into your role in CDE. So, could you tell me one of the things that you are allowed to tell to the public of what you had to deal with?
As far as the executive role,
Yes, that you're allowed to
so
tell to the public.
there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes with CDE that people don't see. They
Right.
and they never will. Like
Right.
if you're coming in and you're just playing the game and you know, you're playing the game and you're, you know, just there to play the game, you're never going to see that side of it. We grew so fast and so largely that we had to design roles that we never thought were going to be there, right? For issues that we never thought were going to be there. Um, those issues, I mean, they span such a wide area. There's not really any one thing I can key on as to what we do, because it's something different every time you hop on Discord or you play the game, or um and I'm trying to think of something that I could say, but there's such a wide variety of things that
Right.
there's not any real one thing I can key on. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Um
And that's okay. I mean, that also means that there's always something different about what you have to deal with, what you also have to basically do as a staff member, not just as an executive, a CIA, TBI, what, or even a Discord
I got
support
one.
member.
I
Okay,
got one.
I got you.
So as the chief human resource officer, right?
Yep.
Like I said, we've created roles that we didn't think we needed, that we didn't think was possible to get to. Um, as the chief human resources officer, you know, I have to deal with um, inner staff problems, right?
Right. 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 Right.
Say one staff member has a problem with another staff member. Well,
Right.
let's pull them in, talk to them, get their side, and you know, 100% of the time, it all works out.
Right.
Um, because there's there's such a great group of guys up there, right? And God, from Mo to Skeen to John to, you know, me, like we're not an oh woe is me type group of people. You know, I feed off Skeen, I feed off Mo, I feed off John, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we all just kind of work together. There was a situation where it was a, you know, I'm gonna be very vague, but we thought it was going to be a huge ordeal, right? And between me, John, Skeen, and Mo working on this problem, dude, it was. I mean, it was like snapping your fingers. It was so smooth. When you glide a softened piece of butter across a piece of toast, and it just slides across the toast so nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how we work. That is. I mean, it's so smooth. We can feed off each other. We can take comments. We can give suggestions, and like nobody's unheard in that situation.
Speaking of unheard, have you ever had to, on any kind of circumstance, go to like a staff member or even just a regular member and ask them for ask them for opinions?
Oh yeah, we do that all the time. Um, if there's situations where we had this happen the other night, there's situations where us as executives don't have the answer, right?
Right. Right.
We'll jump down to CIA or even TBI at some points and be like, hey, what we need some ideas, and we'll ask them, and 90 100 we'll say 100% of the time somebody gives us a good suggestion,
Right.
and we'll credit that person for helping us out. Like,
Right.
it's at the end of the day, being a part of staff, being a part of CDE Inc. isn't about me, right?
Right.
It's about family.
Right.
John's put this in 100 times. Forget about me. I love you. That's how we play this. It's a big group of family.
Right.
I had the privilege of going on a cruise with two staff members. John was supposed to go, but he had a competition. We're not going to get into that. But I had the privilege of going on a cruise with two of those guys, and I'm telling you, like, it was one of the funnest times I've had outside of TNSRP. So it's a big family. It's a big group. It's a family mentality, and with the trickle down effect, right? That positive attitude, that positive community driven experience trickles down into the TNSRP Arkansas State, role play community. And that's what has, I feel, it's just my opinion. That's what's helped TNSRP thrive, is that we truly care for each other and not just, what can I get out of this?
Right.
We truly care about John and his mission statement and what he strives for. And that's truly what makes TNSRP a server like no other.
Right.
That yeah, that's pretty much what
Um,
it is, man.
yeah, I mean, it's the truth. So, kind of wrapping up here. Um, so, in your opinion, what does TNSRP mean to you?
So, of course, everybody has a life outside of the server, right?
Right.
When I joined the server, I had real close friends and all that, and I joined TNSRP, and funny story is, um, I actually got a warning within 2 weeks of being at TNSRP.
Ooh.
Uh, yeah, I violated one of the rep rules, and they were pretty quick to call me on that. Um, but once the dust settled, and I understood truly what I'd done wrong. Um, their mission statement kind of hit me a little different than other FiveM communities, right?
Right.
Because I understood if everybody acted like that, what it was a kidnapping scene, which was out
Okay.
of Rep One rules. Um,
I
and they called
remember this.
and they called me on it, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I was like, at first, you're kind of angry, kind of mad. You're like, what's going on? And but then I got to sit down and kind of read, the mission statement and what TNSRP was all about. And it made sense to me. Because if you don't have control, you have complete chaos, right? And it's not about control. It's just giving everybody a safe and fun experience within a FiveM server. But what TNSRP means to me, man, I really I really can't put it into words, but the best shoot.
The best way you
The
can.
best summary of it, right?
Yes.
Is TNSRP has done so much for me, man. I've met some absolutely amazing people on here.
Right.
They've helped me grow in ways that I didn't think was possible.
Right.
They've the growth inside TNSRP is also translated to the outside life. Be respectful. Be we say prayers at some point, and that's kind of trickled into my daily life. Be respectful. Just it's got like a trickle down effect to where you've got this awesome community that respects and loves you so much that you want to go out there and share that, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's there's times where my friends, my coworkers probably want me to shut up when I'm talking about TNSRP,
That's
but
crazy.
I can't. I'm serious. I can't say enough about it. I talk about it all the time because it is just so uplifting being here, right? It's so humbling being in the position that I am. When I started 11 months ago, right?
Been a
Um,
long time.
it's so humbling to know that you've got this group of people that truly care about you, that want outside the game to spend time with you because you've touched them in a way inside the game that it it's just it's unreal. And they've helped me through some stuff in my life that really hit me hard.
It
You know, it's
really seems to me the way you're explaining this is TNSRP basically means basically the world to you as a whole.
absolutely, man. These guys, I couldn't. Knowing my life now, I couldn't imagine it without TNSRP. Um, they're just, dude. You have a bad day. There's people like Skeen and John and Mo and Joe and you know, um, Luna and Underwood and both the Howes in my department and Kimon and Trey. They all want to sit there and talk to you for a little bit and ask you, everything okay? You doing all right? And you don't see that. You don't see
Right.
that kind of you don't see that kind of compassion just anywhere, right?
Mhm.
And from that multitude of people.
Right.
If you're having a bad day, you can come in this server and have a good day.
Exactly.
And
And
that's
we always recommend everybody to have a good day.
100%. I mean, if you're having a bad day and everything's getting you down, you can hop on this server and play as a Sev, or you can hop on the server and play as Leo, and all that just melts, right? That
Right.
whole bad day just melts away because you can truly focus on who you are inside TNSRP, and it will completely change your attitude with how nice and respectful people are in here,
Mm-hmm.
to where to where you get off the game at night and you're just kind of, laying there like, wow, man, that was a fun time. And
Speaking, I mean, speaking of time, speaking of good time. Um, so I will say thank you very much for answering these questions.
nah, man,
Uh,
it's my pleasure. If you're listening to this and you haven't joined TNSRP, join up. There's people in general chat. There's people in Discord support that will answer any questions you have about how to start a department, how to rank up as a civ. There's people out there that will give these resources to make you thrive in TNSRP, and we want everybody to thrive here.
exactly. So, last question of the time for this interview. If you had to say something to John, the CEO, what would you say to him?
Dude, I don't mean to downplay this at all, right?
Okay.
That dude's an animal. That dude is an animal. Okay, I at I'm not gonna give out, but we'll say if I was that young, right, and I knew everything that he knows, he's so smart, man. He's so
Really is.
smart,
He is.
super smart guy, like, and is so respectful. Yet he has the best qualities of a person that you could possibly find. I would say to him, man, you blow my mind. Like, you truly blow my mind as to how caring and knowledgeable you are about this stuff. It's there's so much you could say to him and about him that you would have to make a whole separate podcast.
That's
He's
very crazy.
he's just
He's just something.
he's an animal, dude. Like, he really is. Like, he really is. Between balancing work and doing this and caring and being respectful, but also knowing when to put his foot down.
Yes.
I'm telling you, that guy's a straight animal.
And I definitely know that he'll definitely appreciate that.
He's, you know, if if I was his age and I had something like this,
That'd be
I don't I
crazy.
don't I don't I don't say no, I don't think there's any way possible that I could have done anything different than what he has created here. It is it is exemplary, and it's just awesome. It's awesome being a part of this. It's awesome knowing John and knowing him on a personal level. But yeah, dude, dude's a straight animal. Like, he's so awesome, dude. You can't put it into words.
I definitely understand that. So, as I said before, thank you for joining us in the podcast. Thank you for giving your points in as a Knox County Sheriff's Office sheriff and your executive role for CDE.
Thank you all. Um, Again, if you haven't signed up for TNSRP, go ahead and do it. Um, Carter's awesome. You can talk to him.
Oh, thank
Not throwing you out there, Carter,
you.
but Here you go.
I
Uh,
really appreciate
yeah,
that.
but Carter's awesome. You can talk to him. You can talk to, anybody in general in Discord, anybody, in the support tickets. They'll be highly respectful. They'll tell you any resource you need to really thrive in this community. Um, but thank you everybody for your time, and I really appreciate being here. Thank you, Carter.
Thank you, Mcfarland. See you next time.
All right, man.
Next, we're heading into the city with Knoxville Police Department. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself into your role in KPD?
Hello, everybody. I'm Captain Hernandez with the Knoxville Police Department. And my primary role in KPD is I serve as a district watch commander or a district commander, where I'm responsible for the northern side of the city or the general patrol jurisdiction, as well as I'm the deputy director of the Internal Affairs Division here at the Knoxville Police Department.
Awesome. So what's a daily routine you would have as a officer in KPD compared to like the county?
So, city, obviously, a lot of people know and already understand that the city is a lot different from the county, obviously. Um, so our typical day or workflow, we are in more of a dense and a more urban environment, which kind of offers and needs a lot more proactive police work. A day in the life for us kind of works with just responding to general calls for service, contacting our community, and attempting to interact with our community in ways that aren't just high volume calls, right? We encourage our officers and ourselves as Knoxville Police Department to interact with people um, that isn't pertaining to a call, whether or not that be showing our community presence while going to car meets or general events that are hosted throughout the city. We like to work with engaging with the community without it being a call. Um, we focus on proactive patrols. Right now, we're doing a holiday patrol for the month of December, where we will focus on the more higher populated areas or more dense areas of the city, preferably like our business districts and nightlife hotspots, stuff like that. That we, as Knoxville Police Department, can show our presence, so people are less likely to commit violent crimes or even less likely to commit burglaries. Like I already said, community contact is very important where we're at and workflow. Now, if we're comparing that to the county, our county has a lot wider area. And it has a lot larger, I don't want to say it has a lot more room to basically do more different styles of role play while being a deputy or a law enforcement officer in the county. Um, the county offers a you kind of have to be able to know how to work by yourself in the county, because a lot of the time your backup's going to be in different jurisdictions, right? You could be up in near Zancudo, and you're going to need an additional 32, but the nearest additional is going to be all the way in the city. So I feel like, or not, sorry, not all the way in the city, but all the way in Sandy or somewhere, that takes 5, 10, 15 minutes to get to you. So I feel like there's definitely a high difference between working in the county and working in the city
So, for
within our
example,
routines.
like one of your officers in KPD is like on the north side of the city, like near the casino, and say, "Hey, we need a felony stop." How would the 32 request be? Like, would it be less time, or how do you think the
Yeah.
time would be on that?
Yeah, so our operating efficiency is very large at the Knoxville Police Department. We operate on a high key note. And the reason why we do that is because we're in a more dense area. We're in a more urban area, right? Compared to the county, which is large and expanding and humongous, right? There's different areas that, nature and stuff like that. Well, we're just kind of dense. We are a large city, but normally general response time will take about, 5 to 10 minutes to get to a call. Um, maybe even less than that, depending on where I'm at. So if I'm all the way up on the northern side in the northern district, and I'm responding to a 32 request down in the southern side of Knoxville, right? Kind of our gang area, our more well-known crime area. I would say if you hop on the Knoxville freeway, it will take you about maybe three-ish minutes to get there. So I definitely will say that our operating integrity and our operating activity is a lot more higher than it, of course, it is in some of the county or more nature areas, if you would say.
So, what's the most common calls you've had to respond to?
So in the city, preferably towards the Knoxville Police Department, we get a lot of disturbance calls, um, or disorderly conduct calls. People who are acting out of the ordinary, whether or not that be noise complaints, suspicious persons, trespassing, stuff like that is a lot of what we get at the Knoxville Police Department. We also do have a lot of pursuits that roll through the city. County will contact us and say, "Hey, we have a four-door Honda Civic heading your way, right? Coming up on the Route 1 northbound, right? Because we know that the highways run pretty much through the whole surrounding of the city. And they'll say, hey, they're coming up on Route 1 northbound. Just want you guys to be aware." So a lot of the times we'll assist in taking over pursuits. And a lot of time the civilians within our county or within our city do like to initiate pursuits. So I'd say our common calls that we get is going to be our disturbances, our disorderly conducts, and our police pursuits.
Awesome. So what's the strangest, like out of the blue, hey, that's nothing like I've seen before kind of situation?
So my strangest occurrence, at least in my time within the KPD, is I was here before we switched over to full statewide patrols. So I was actually here for a long time. Um, my favorite incident, and it's not really out of the ordinary incident, but it's one that I like to talk about a lot. It's a Wong Ho incident. Um, Wong Ho was a character that was ran by one of the CIA agents within the community, and he offered a very unique style to him. We were at his Cluck and Bell farm up in the county. Again, before we had the statewide patrol jurisdiction implementation, we were I was up on routine patrol up in Paleto Bay, and I responded to I believe it was a disturbance call over at, excuse me, over at the Wong Ho Chicken Factory. When I got there, there were already some officers on scene, but at that time, I believe I was the 03 of KPD. So I assisted and took scene command of the incident. The call came in with Wong Ho, and he had I believe it was either a butcher knife or an axe of some sort. And the reason why I like talking about this one is because once we got into the actual facility, I remember being so loud that I actually got told to be quiet in my house. I was so loud and I yelled at Wong Ho at the top of my lungs for him to get on the ground. And if you look at the social medias, it's actually on there. And I was yelling at him, I was telling him to get on the ground. And that saying is actually even on the TNSRP underwear that we have. If you look on the side of it, it says get on the ground. So that was my favorite scene that I've probably ever done in the community. I wouldn't say it's strange because it's kind of ordinary, right? It's kind of an ordinary scene, stuff that might happen, hostage investigation and stuff like that. But would think that that is my most memorable and favorite scene that I've done here in the community.
And if you want to see that clip, it'll be down in the description right now. But I will definitely say, when I was watching that video and you say, get down, sit down, that was so funny. That was so funny.
That was a fun one.
It was. So, how does working in the city change the way you approach RP compared to like in the county? Like, is there any difference?
I would say there is a large difference. We have to work on proactive policing. Everybody knows that a lot of the time, people who enjoy playing FiveM favor the county, and a lot of us know that. And us as city officers, we really work on learning how to be proactive in our police work, whether or not that be working patrols, right? Going out there and trying to find stuff for us to do because we don't really have a large We do have, some decent amounts of calls, but we don't really get a large population of calls like the county guys do. So we actually have to go out there and, show our presence and show people that we are out here and we are ready to take on the calls that you want us to take on. Whether or not that be from patrols to traffic enforcement. Our officers are known, and at KPD, we do a lot of traffic control, not just traffic control, but traffic enforcement, right? Pulling cars over, DUI, uh, you know, DWI, driving, whatever, right? We actually have to go out there and strive. CDRP pushes you to be efficient, and you have to be basically sharp. There's a lot of chaos that goes on in the city, and because there's so much stuff to do in the city, right, compared to the large, county area, there's a lot of chaos. County gives you a lot of area to build story, right? Where you kind of have some, kind of farm area. It has a lot of drastic different stories that you can build within as a civilian. Um, City allows you to have deeper character interaction, whether or not that be with another local officer or in a gang area or even in our highly populated northern areas where we have, large scale celebrities or things like that. I'd say personally that working in both are a lot of fun. Like I said in some of my incidents, or even talking about my favorite call, I worked in the county for a while, not as a county officer or a deputy, but I did work as KPD where we patrolled in the county. And I'll say from my experiences, they're both enjoyable and they're both fun. But there's definitely a large amount of change between approaching RP within the city and approaching RP within the county. And I think it offers you a wide variety of different things that you can enjoy while being in the community.
So I've asked this not in the podcast, but like in general, would you rather patrol in the city or in the county?
I'd rather patrol in the city. My reasoning for that is I just feel like city's home for me, right? I've been in Knoxville Police Department from day one here. I had I did transfer out a little bit and I went to THP and I did work there for a while, but I immediately came back. Not because I didn't do anything wrong, but because I'm a routine scaled person and I enjoyed the Knoxville Police Department so much that I came back. I love the city. I love the department. Nothing to any other department, but it's just my home here, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Right? It's a good idea, and it's kind of fun to patrol up in the county because they do get a lot of calls, and they do have a lot of people who have fun. But I feel like when people are really interested in wanting to expand and give us their all, they come down to the city and offer us a lot more advanced and enhanced storyline.
It's really great. Honestly, in my opinion, I really love this city. I mean, it's a lot of space. And the funny thing is, they say the county has so much hiding spots. The city does too.
You got to
The
just look for
city, the city has so many hiding spots. It's not even funny.
It's true.
Like, I can say back when Hernandez was 03 and he was chasing me as one of my characters. He was chasing me and I actually got away somehow. And he somehow found me in this like little hiding spot. And he, after the scene, he's like, I knew that hiding spot. I knew you were right there. It was so great.
Yep.
Approaching the city is different how you would approach the county, in my opinion. And a lot of people will say that, but don't mean it. But as a KCSO deputy, I love the city. Just how it is, unfortunately. Anyways, thank you for answering these questions on the short notice. If you had to say one thing to John, the CEO, what would you say to him?
It's hard to densify into like one thing or make small, but I've been with John from day one. Me and him were in another community where he expressed his love for role play. He expressed his love for enjoying and wanting to make a community that is basically a home for everybody, where staff members aren't corrupt, where staff members have, love to talk to you, and we don't just immediately jump to, hey, you're getting banned because you did this, right? He wanted to make this community because he wanted to have a home for everybody and a home for people who enjoy RPing. I met John while I worked in another community, of course, and I remember I was on patrol as a Paleto Bay police officer, or I was the chief at the time, and John was running a verified department where he was running basically like border patrol. It was kind of their verified kind of thing, an extra department that they offered. And John, I remember him pulling up and me and him just sitting there and having like a conversation for an hour. Um, and he was enforcing the road there that goes into Roxwood. That little what is it? That bridge right there. But
Yeah.
he's a great guy. He had a community, and he had one goal in mind, and the goal in mind was to make a loving and eventful home where staff members aren't corrupt and community is actually a community. And he uses the saying in KPD a lot, which is family, and that's really what we're about. We're a family. We're a big family of people who enjoy coming on the internet, and playing is something that you know they can't in real life, or maybe they do and they just want to come on here and change it up, right? Like, I know I want to be a law enforcement officer one day, and I come in here and I learn, and I share experiences and learn different things from this community, and that's his goal in mind. He's changed just one community to many, right? We have Arkansas, and there's definitely more to come, and he's made CDE its business, its own business. And I think that's great. And the fact that he's proactive with the community, and is an announcements channel every day, typing in different things, coming up to events and showing people that just because I'm a CEO doesn't mean I don't have a heart, or just because I'm a CEO doesn't mean you know I can't be there for you guys. So that's my multiple sentences of why, and some words that I would say to John. He's a great guy. He, has been here. He's been with me from the start, and I thank him for it. Right, I thank him for when I texted him and I said, "Hey, what are you up to?" He was like, "Hey, come join my community," and I did that in January of 2025, and we're coming up on a year that I've been in here, and I've enjoyed every single minute of it.
Thank you guys for listening for this for Hernandez as KPD. We now have THP coming up. Now we're hitting the highways with THP. So can you go ahead and introduce yourself and what role you have in the department?
I am a lieutenant colonel with the Tennessee Highway Patrol. I oversee Troop C, which is Knoxville City. I oversee the troop and make sure everything is squared away with Troop C, and I assist the other lieutenant colonels with the Tennessee Highway Patrol.
So being the head of Troop C, what does the day look like for a normal trooper in your troop?
So in Troop C, our job is to patrol the highways within the city jurisdiction and assist KPD with anything that they have or may request assistance of the Tennessee Highway Patrol.
And what kind of calls would you like kind of get with when you're like patrolling in the city? Like, have you like had like one big kind of scene within THP in the city?
So each day differs, of course. Each call is never the same and has its own identity. Our typical calls normally are additional 32 requests, which is backup. With our main thing to do in the city is to enforce the traffic laws. We like to use our motorbike unit division to enforce traffic laws. Uh, and then we have our other operations that we utilize as well in the city, like our air unit, K9, SWAT, But the average day for a trooper in the city is, like I said, traffic laws mainly, enforcing those on the highway. And then we get our additional requests from KPD to assist them if needed. We back them up on, panics, if pursuit, traffic laws, if they need assistance. We like to do joint operations with them as well, with speed traps and DUIs and checkpoints throughout the city as well.
So, what is the one most intense scene that you've experienced as a Troop C in THP?
Um, the most memorized or memorable traffic stop or scene, I guess I could say, is we had a bank robbery there in Vinewood, and we had to utilize KPD, KCSO, and ourselves. We all had a joint operation with that, different areas, and it was a uh, high stakes scene. We had two civs that trying to remember because it's been a minute. Uh,
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
they demanded a helicopter out of all the things that they could demand. A
Ooh,
helicopter, which we had to land in the middle of the intersection. And then they took off in it. We had to track it. Um, they eventually landed at the airport there in the city at LSIA, and we swarmed a scene there uh, and took them into custody, which wasn't easy because they almost.
you kind of broke out.
Uh, which part?
You when you start when you right when you said LSA, you just kind of broke out.
So when we tracked them to LSIA with the helicopter, they tried to hijack a commercial jet, which we intercepted them and took them into custody there. That's kind of where the scene ended. That's the most intense or memorable scene that we've had in the city as Troop C so far.
So, how does THP balance highway enforcement with also helping the local departments when needed?
So we're pretty staffed with Troop C. I have underneath my direction and Troop C, I have informed our supervisors and command to work hand in hand with KPD in operations there. Um, one way we balance it is depending on the call, of course, and the severity of it. We normally send a maximum of 2 troopers to the call, and if additional THP assistance is needed, I will authorize more troopers to break off of the highways to assist in the call, depending on what it's involving.
Interesting. Thank you so much for answering these questions on the short notice you've had. So I would like to say one thing. If you would have to say one like something to John, what would it be?
Um, I would say that I enjoy playing here on the server. Um, on the Tennessee side, I know we have 2 servers, the Tennessee and the Arkansas server. I really enjoy the role play here, the environment, and everything that John tries to strive for here. Um, as a lieutenant colonel with the Tennessee Highway Patrol, I try to reinforce the same goals that John tries to uh, put out there and enforce. Um, Main thing is I enjoy it. I found a home here with Tennessee State Role Play server, and I look for more. Uh, what am I trying to say here? More experiences and um, opportunities here in the server as well.
Awesome. If you had to say anything to the members or anything like that, what would you say to any of the members? Could be like somebody that's already joined or about to join.
One thing I would say is to the members that this is a very good server, a very good place. We all try to strive to keep it that way in regards to the role play. We like to see teamwork and efforts put forth. Uh, Main thing that I would recommend anybody as a member is um, make sure that we all play by the rules and make it the best place possible.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mr. Hash, for coming. Appreciate you being here. Um, Other than that, I hope you have yourself a great day.
All right, thank you.
Finally, we're heading over to Sevier County. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself and what role you have in SCSO?
What's up, y'all? I'm Lieutenant Luna with the Sevier County Sheriff's Office, and I hold the lieutenant spot, the command spot.
So, how does the average patrol shift look like for deputies in Sevier County?
Yeah, so pretty much we patrol the Sevier County, so it's going to be Polito and the Roxwood area. Usually stays fairly busy. Um, Normal patrol, keeping the streets safe, brother.
Very interesting. So, what makes SCSO unique compared to any other department we've heard from today?
For one, dude, our liveries are probably top notch. I mean, when you see the white car with the yellow and black and gray, I mean, you know you're in trouble. You know what I mean? It's just we stand out.
Yeah.
We stand out. You know, we're held to a very high standard. We're a smaller department, so you know we are all held to a very high standard. You know, our sheriff is the best in the state.
Awesome. So, do you have any kind of like memorable moment from your time at SCSO that really stands out to you?
Yeah, we did a massive drug bust a couple nights ago. That was a 3 night ordeal or a 3 day ordeal. Um, the Sevier County Sheriff's Office criminal investigations. We went through, got with all my drug and narcotic guys, and we took down a massive drug trafficker. Think we seized around 20 kilos of cocaine, and about 10 kilos of marijuana, and about 500 THC cards. So it was a big sting op. That only Sevier County knew about. We worked together. We worked together as a perfect team. Um, our gang and narcotic and our detective team, dude, we're top notch. So went together so flawlessly. Suspect was in the helicopter, so we knew we kind of had to play it just right because if he was to get in that helicopter and take off, we'd never catch him again. So we came up with a really good plan. We executed that plan without incident and took him down.
Awesome. Thank you for answering these questions. And if you had to say one thing to the big boy, Mr. John, the CEO, what would you say to him?
Oh, uh, a big thank you. This has been my first real experience with FiveM. This was the first server that I've ever played on, and it's really been eye opening. I've played GTA for many, many, many years, but never really experienced this side of things. From what I've heard and what I've read about other servers, server owners, they're hard to get in touch. They're hard to talk to. They don't really care about their people. And with uh, with CDE, the community driven experience, um, you know, we as a family, like we care about everybody. We care about everybody's opinions. Um, we take everything into consideration. We talk about it as a team. Um, and I think that's what really makes us stand out is that, all the suggestions are looked over by John. If we bring anything to John, he takes it into consideration, dude. I mean, he's active in the chats. He responds to people. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter if you're new here or if you've been here since the beginning. So I really do respect that from John. So John, if you're listening, dude, thank you for what you do for us as a community.
He's going to really enjoy that. As I
Well, I
said,
mean it, dude, and I think a lot of people within the community feel feel strongly about that. Also, I can't really say much because, like I said, I haven't been in any other community but this one. But from hearing through the grapevine, man, there's people that are leaving massive other communities and other cities to come here because of just how organized we are. Um, how we run a tight ship. We don't take anything lightly, and it's very community driven, and I enjoy that. It's a big thing in business is you can't. I don't know if you've ever seen Joe Dirt, but when he's running the fireworks stand, he's only selling snakes and sparklers because that's the only thing he likes. And you're never going to make any money selling what you like. So you can't build a community on things that you want. You build a community around things that other people want, and that's what makes a business thrive. So we're definitely on the right track to be very, very, very successful.
as I said before, thank you so much for joining in for the podcast, Luna.
Absolutely.
If you had to say anything else to the members, what would you say?
Uh, TNSRP on top, CDE on top, baby.
You had it here first. Before we wrap things up, let's go ahead and talk about something brand new, the Gatlinburg add-on. We've got John back here to explain what this brings to the server.
Yeah, super exciting time. We are actually introducing all of our verified departments that we've been rotating back and forth in and out for the past 6 months or so. So we're bringing back 6 departments, and then our specialty December department is going to be the Gatlinburg Police Department. So we added that in. It's got a very nice Durango, 2 livery variants on there. So we have a total of 7 verified departments that our members can play as for the month of December going into January. So it's super exciting time. We're loving seeing all those cars out there, and I think everyone else is loving the opportunity to go and play as their hometown police or sheriff's department.
So, what inspired the team to add Gatlinburg, and what can players expect from it?
Yeah, Gallenberg was kind of something that we previously looked at actually adding as a full-time department. We still may do in the future on the Roxwood or the Chumash Forest side of the map. But we're going to kind of pilot it as a verified department, see how it goes. They're just really great looking vehicles, and it kind of sets us apart in the market, whereas a lot of other servers don't offer what kind of we're offering with that aspect of things. So that's another reason why we kind of chose it. And then I think the final reason is just kind of mix it up, right? With the monthly verified, we don't want people getting um, bored in a sense, right? We want to give them new content every so often. And then it's really cool to be able to, oh, well, I went there and I saw that car and now I get to drive it in game. So I think that's part of the aspect too.
Awesome. So this is a new area wherever you like want to choose from. How would that change roleplay day to day when it's implemented?
That's a good question. That's a good question. And I think it really depends on how it gets utilized, right? Because it could be utilized in multiple different ways. And I think depending on how that actually ends up being utilized would depend on how it interacts and kind of changes that aspect of things. If it's utilized in a, we'll say, more realistic tone, I guess, you got a lot of bears and tourist calls, right? That would be pretty cool. But, they can also respond to mass incidents and 911 calls and all that fun stuff as well. So I think it really just, it's up to the players, right? I mean, we're a
Right.
community driven server. That's what we stand for. That's what we stand in. We've got a great executive team that really believes in that. So allowing us to really step into that and not just some aspects of what we do, but actually everything we do. And that's kind of our identity in a sense of it's really where the community leads us, right? I
Right.
mean, we'll give them the tools, we'll give them the car, but they got to drive the car and they got to do whatever they want to with the car, right?
Exactly. So Gatlinburg's out for, you said verified?
Yes, yep, part of our monthly verified program.
So, as for verified, as we all know, we have to be rep 2 in at least 20 hours, I'm thinking again. I forgot.
It's either 10 or 20, I can't remember.
Anyways, you can always join up, make a ticket, and then verify with our staff, see if you're any like in good standing or anything like that.
Yeah,
Just
most people are.
I mean, just earlier we were just talking to some community members and staff, and they had some kind of interesting perspectives and maybe some conversations. Like I've heard that they wanted Gatlinburg, and they'd be a really great asset of making within the server, and I definitely agree with that. What's your opinion on maybe some of the aspects that you've seen from different members from about Gatlinburg?
Yeah, I think it's definitely been super well received, which I think is pretty awesome. We'd love to see that always, right?
Yeah,
We don't ever want to add something and it never gets utilized because it's a waste of time for us. It's a waste of time for everyone else. It's a
exactly.
waste of money at that point. So I love seeing it's being used. It's awesome. I think, yeah, definitely it's something that the members have been asking for. And I think it does show that we actually do listen to feedback and actually are pretty receptive to it as well. So I think that's part of it as well, is like your suggestions can help shape the future of CDE. So I think that would be something that if you're don't take anything, at least take that. So
Exactly. And your feedback can always make a difference for
oh, absolutely,
any
absolutely.
person. I mean, you can say, "Hey, I
Hmm.
want this to be implemented," and it's like, this seems like a really great idea. We'll probably try to test it and see what goes on, and it might
Yeah,
come out
absolutely.
bad. It may come out good. Never know. You never know until you suggest it. But that's going to be it for today's episode of Inside CDE. A huge thanks to all of our department guests and John for sharing the outside of Gatlinburg. If you like to experience a day in the life yourself, you can join CDE Incorporation or their Discord servers at discord.tnsrp.com or Discord ARSRP.com, or click either of the links below in the description. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time in the city.